One. Welcome to Football and AI, your premier football prediction show where we pitch man against machine. My name is Adeyemi Adesoya, and as always on the show, I am never alone. I'm joined today by my guest who will be having the esteemed pleasure of going up against the machine. He's none other than Adebayo Jamiu. Adebayo Jamiu, welcome to Football and AI. How are you today?
Mr. Ami, good evening. Thank you for having me. It's my pleasure being on the show with you.
Lovely. You said you're a public servant. How has that been with with the whole coronavirus pandemic and all the restrictions that it has brought our way?
Um, I wouldn't want to mention permits me, I don't want to mention the name of the agency now.
Oh, it's fine. It's fine.
But
I appreciate that.
but as a staff of that agency that we offer essential service, it's been very tough. At times where the challenges are much more during the pandemic, and but thankfully we've been able to suppress it now, and all things are coming back to normal.
Oh, good that things are coming back to normal on your end. What football team do you support, Adebayo Jamiu?
Yeah, I support Arsenal. I'm an Arsenal fan.
Oh, okay. You're a gunner.
Yeah, I used to be.
What's your take on the kind of fixtures you're having to face, especially in the Carabao Cup? You went from Leicester to Liverpool and now to Manchester City.
Yeah, it's been tough for Arsenal recently, and the coach, the manager now, is trying to blend in the team to his own style, different from the Arsenal we used to know, where we don't have the spine. So recently, under the new manager, we've been having to grind out results without playing very well, like people always crave for. So as an Arsenal fan, I think it's on the right path, and I just want to wish the team the very best of luck. And talking about the Carabao Cup, from Leicester to Liverpool and now to Manchester City. I think the toughest one out of it was just the last night on where we played Liverpool, and luckily, fortunately, we had to scale through on penalties. So for the next match now, we'll be facing City at the Emirates, and recently, with the style of play Mikel Arteta is deploying against the so big teams, playing defensively, so to say, I think we will not have a problem against City. And considering that Mikel Arteta used to work with Pep Guardiola, I think he has one or two tricks with him. So I think this is going to be very fine for Arsenal, and I see Arsenal scaling through.
Okay, well, I wish you the very best, and hopefully, Arsenal can give you as much joy as we hope to give you on this show. Last week, unfortunately, I don't know, Sheyi is not on with us today. Maybe he will join in somewhere along the line. Somehow we lost contact. Last week was a very, very interesting week for us on football, and there I have to say big congratulations to Ubani, who has scored the highest number of points on this show so far. Ubani finished with 9 points last week, three correct scores. He got the correct score for Everton and Liverpool correctly, and he also predicted three other outcomes correctly. So he finished with 9 points. Interestingly, the AI itself also finished with his highest points, which was 5 points. One correct result, which happened to be the Liverpool Arsenal game, 3-1, and also scored two other correct outcomes. So I guess that as things go on, the AI seems to be catching on and making easy strides. I'm sure he has made some adjustments, is adding new parameters to the AI, and gradually, who knows, maybe not this week, the AI will be able to, get one over we humans. Last week, like I was saying, lots of very interesting results. First and foremost, nobody would have thought that Leicester City would go to what's it
Manchester
called? To Manchester
City.
City and win 5-2.
5-2.
That that was a huge surprise.
That was
Funny thing is that the predictions from both Ubani and the AI had them saying Manchester City will win 3-1, but fortunately, reverse was the case. Another shocking result was West Ham against Wolves. West Ham drew Wolves 4-0. Both the AI and Ubani also got that wrong. Ubani went for a Wolves win at 2-0. The AI predicted 1-1 draw for both teams. Another surprise one had to do with West Brom hosting Chelsea. Well, Ubani missed it by 1 goal because Ubani had actually predicted that West Brom Chelsea will end 2-3. But interestingly, it ended 3-3, even though the AI also predicted that it will end 1-3 in favor of Chelsea. But West Brom took a 3-0 lead at halftime, and Chelsea came back to make it into a proper game of 2 halves. Another surprising one that's that went against the predictions of Ubani and the AI was Burnley and Southampton. Ubani had Burnley to win 2-0. The AI had Burnley Southampton 1-1. Interestingly, that ended with Southampton winning 1-0, Danny Ings being the difference in that one. Sheffield United taking on Leeds United ended 0-1 in favor of Leeds. Ubani had gone for 2-3 in favor of Leeds United. The AI went 2-2, so they both missed it, but Ubani got that on the point that he got the current shot. The one that probably hurt the most was Tottenham and Newcastle. Ubani had gone for 5-1 in favor of Newcastle. We even told him that if for any reason the game ends 5-1, we will give him the money irrespective of what happens. But unfortunately, the game ended 1-1 in controversial circumstances. I would have loved to have Sheyi on the show today so that we could talk about the fact that the AI does not cater for circumstances relating to VAR, referees, errors, injuries to players, red cards, and what have you, because those were some of the issues that turned the results the other way. Adebayo Jamiu, were you surprised by the results that we got last week?
first and foremost the City versus Leicester City game that went in for Leicester for scoring 5 goals, 3 penalties. I was actually stunned. I knew Vardy was going to come up with a good. Leicester scoring 5 goals at the Etihad, that was just too big a shocker for me. And another result was West Brom and Chelsea. I was somewhere with a friend. He was a Chelsea fan. Said Chelsea losing. I said Chelsea will come back, and though they didn't come back to win, but getting a 3-3 after going down three goals to nil, coming back to score 3 goals. It was a shocker because West Brom have been conceding lots of goals right from the Championship down to the Premier League right now. But another shocking result was Leeds United for me. I never knew Leeds United could go to Sheffield, a very much defensive Sheffield United team, and nicking it at the end of the game, 88th minute by Bamford, scoring that goal. That was a shocker for me. Then not forgetting West Ham. Now, Moyes was not on the bench, and they could score 4 goals against a Wolverhampton Wanderers side. Defensively as well, plays very compact football, and for them not to have scored just a goal against West Ham was a shocker for me as well.
Well, that in itself killed a lot of people who are probably gone for both teams to score. For those that are betting people, huge surprise, but unfortunately, West Ham have been brought down to earth because they lost during the week to Everton in the Carabao Cup. And who knows? if maybe David Moyes need to be on the bench again or he's still in self-isolation. But a lot of these things we don't prepare for. A lot of these things the AI does not take into consideration. But the results last week were very, very interesting. But still, it is still 3-0 to the humans, to manhood, to mankind, and the AI is yet to get a victory. So this weekend, let me look at some of the games that we have this weekend, and we start from Chelsea. We'll probably look at some of the interesting statistics to look at to probably guide whatever predictions we are making. Chelsea host Crystal Palace. Palace have won 2 of the 3 games they played this season in the Premier League. Very unlucky to have lost to Everton at home last week. Controversial penalty after Digne headed into the hands of Joe Ward, which kind of cost me on Fantasy League. But then Everton continued their good form. So Palace taking on Chelsea. Palace are also pretty good going away from home. But the interesting thing you have to look out for here is Chelsea have won their last 5 matches against Crystal Palace in all competitions. So overwhelmingly seems to tilt towards Chelsea. Now, Chelsea have also scored at least 2 goals in their last 3 home matches against Crystal Palace in all competitions. So with Chelsea struggling, note that Chelsea have drawn their last 2 games, drawing away to West Brom and also drawing away to Tottenham Hotspur in the Carabao Cup and eventually losing on penalties. We expect to have. It'll be interesting to see who Lampard starts with in goal for this one, knowing that Mendy put up a decent debut performance against Spurs. Let's go to Everton, Brighton. Brighton have lost back-to-back games to Manchester United. First one was in controversial circumstances in the Premier League, but were taken to the cleaners in the Carabao Cup where they lost 3-0. Everton are unbeaten so far this season, perfect in the Premier League, perfect in the Carabao Cup, and most importantly, a certain Calvin Lewin is scoring for fun. I think he has 8 goals, he's top scorer in the league, top scorer in all competitions in England as we speak. Now let's go to stats. There've been more than 2 goals in. There have been more than 2 goals scored in Brighton's last 4 games in the Premier League. So look out for goals. Everton have won their last 3 Premier League matches. Like we said, the 3 matches they played so far, they won. Everton have won their last 3 home matches against Brighton in all competitions. So Brighton are undefeated in their last 8 away matches in the Premier League. So here you have a situation where something has to give. Something has to give in the sense that one has a perfect record at home, perfect record in the Premier League. The other is looking very good away from home with 8 wins, 8 games undefeated away from home. Something has to give. I'll be looking out for goals in that one. I think there'll be goals to entertain us, especially the neutrals, in looking out for that. Let me take one of the comments that we have coming in. Nekejike says everything is looking like the real deal. Yes, they are looking like the real deal. My only concern for them is in central defense, especially. I'm not so sure that Yeremina and Michael Keane provide the best partnership for Everton, for that team. Although news coming out last week so that Carlos Ancelotti is critically looking at strengthening that central defense. They have barely 3 days to sort that out with the transfer window closing on the 5th. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. I think that Everton are still good enough to get an easy, comfortable result at home to Brighton. To one of the big games of the weekend, and it's going to be more like a mentor versus mentee game. Leeds United hosting Manchester City. A lot of people would know that Marcelo Bielsa is someone that Pep Guardiola looks up to really much. He copies his style, his philosophy, he holds it very dear. But City, in terms of overall quality, are a far better team than Leeds United. But then, this is a Manchester City team that lost last week in the Premier League. Even though, yes, in the Carabao Cup, they kind of redeemed themselves and won Burnley 3-0. Now, Leeds, for me, need to sort themselves out defensively. That is where I think they continue to lack. And it'll be interesting to see how this goes. There have been over 2 goals scored in Manchester City's last 7 games. So here we goes. Manchester City have scored at least 2 goals in their last 7 matches, even in the Premier League. Manchester City have been winning at both half-time and full-time in their last 3 away matches. Leeds have seen more than 2 goals in 6 of the last 7 matches against Manchester City, and that probably has to go back into a few years. Man City have won their last 3 away matches in the Premier League. Let me ask Adebayo Jamiu, Leeds Manchester City. Who do you think will win that one? Where do you think it will tilt towards? Or can we
Sorry,
expect get a shot in that one?
I'm going to start with the Leeds manager, Marcelo Bielsa, a very fantastic coach manager. That's one this pattern I call an aggressive attacking football. But recently, coming back into the Premier League, they've been considering goals, except for the last match where they had to nick in 1-0 at Sheffield United. Their first game, they winning by a narrow margin. Considering 3 goals in a Premier League game could be disastrous at some point. So for me, I think City, just like you said, they have a very good attacking threat now. Considering the fact that Aguero and Jesus are not going to be playing, but I think they still have enough to overpower Leeds United. And considering that City just got a defender now that can put their defense in shape a bit. Diaz, a very good defender from Benfica. I think hopefully it starts by the weekend, and let's see where it goes. But I'll be going for City to win at Leeds United.
Interesting. Let's run very quickly because we're fast running out of time. Nick Ejike says, Everton reminds me of Aston Villa of 96-97 with Julian Joachim. That's taking us back. You want to turn this program to Premier League classics? Julian Joachim, that used to be a pretty good player for Aston Villa back in the day, as top 9, as Dominic Calvert-Lewin is doing for Everton. So let's look at the other games for this Premier League weekend. There's a big game at Old Trafford. Manchester United will be hosting former manager Jose Mourinho and Tottenham Hotspur. It promises to be very interesting because, interestingly, both managers have been going at each other since last week. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has made a few funny comments about Manchester United, about Spurs and Jose Mourinho. And Jose Mourinho, in turn, has gone back and also made some very, very snide remarks. Let's talk about the stats. Manchester United have won 6 of the last 7 home matches against Tottenham in all competitions. Manchester United have scored at least 2 goals in 8 of their last 10 matches in the Premier League. Manchester United are undefeated in 15 of their last 16 Premier League games. And that single defeat, was the defeat against Crystal Palace at Old Trafford. Now, we all know Jose Mourinho used to be at Manchester United. He was manager at Manchester United. But Spurs have had a bit of a yo-yo performance over the start of this season. A surprising draw at home to Newcastle in very shocking circumstances. They defeated Maccabi Haifa 7-0 Just yesterday, 7-2, just yesterday in the Europa League. So that in itself, shows two sides to Spurs that we can look at. The fact that they can falter when you least expect, and the fact that they have a lot of goals in them. Let's look at the two teams that had the big results from last week. Leicester City taking on West Ham. Something has to give as well. West Ham were knocked out of the Carabao Cup by Everton in style by Dominic Calvert-Lewin. And Leicester have been drawing at halftime and winning at full time in the last three matches. So for those who put their money where their mouth is, that just tells you an X1 in favor of Leicester. But we're not talking that here. They've won their last three matches in the Premier League. That's why they are one of the teams at the top of the table. West Ham, on the other hand, have failed to win 10 of their last 11 away matches. So what this tells you is that West Ham are actually terrible away from home. Leicester are undefeated in 11 of their last 12 matches against West Ham in all competitions. Wow. That shows you that Leicester somewhat have an edge. So let's go to the predictions right away. We looked at some of the big games this weekend. I would also be dropping my predictions side by side so that Jamie doesn't feel all alone. So, Jamie, let's start with you. Are you ready? Do you have your predictions ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
You are ready. Just 1 second. Let me get the what's it called ready, so I can put your predictions in. Okay, so let's go. Chelsea, Crystal Palace.
Call it Chelsea, Crystal Palace. 3-1 Chelsea.
3-1 Chelsea. 3-1 Chelsea, but something tells me that we might get Palace. I just feel something tells me Palace might get something from that game. So I'm going 1-1. Palace,
Okay.
Chelsea, I'm going 1-1. I feel Palace will be, Chelsea will still be reeling from what happened in the last two games where they drew both games. So I'm going 1-1 for that one. Everton, Brighton.
Everton, Brighton. Calvert-Lewin is in top form. I think I'll go with Everton 2-1.
Everton 2-1.
Yeah.
But I will make it 4 wins out of 4 in the Premier League to Everton. I'm going Everton 3-1 in this one. I'm not sure if Everton can keep a clean sheet to save their lives. Leeds United versus Manchester City.
Wow. Let's be bracing ourselves a thriller as well. Leeds United 2, City 4.
2-4. That's a 6-goal thriller. Well, some way, somehow, no Aguero, no Jesus Navas. Well, I'm going 2-2 in this one. Leicester, Manchester City, I'm going 2-2. Newcastle United, Burnley. I will be avoiding that game as much as possible.
It's going to be a very drab game. Newcastle, you can't predict what they come up with sometimes. They've been very, very consistent in the last couple of years. And also, the opponent, Burnley, very defensive team. Sean Dyche has done pretty well with the team with a very low budget. I'll be going with 1-1.
1-1. Actually, on that one, we agree. I'm actually going for 1-1 as well. Leicester City, West Ham.
Wow.
Leicester looking to make it 4 out of 4.
Leicester City is going to win. The score line, I want to go with Leicester City 3, West Ham 1. I think
Okay.
West Ham are good enough to score a goal at Leicester's ground.
Okay, I'm going Leicester 3, West Ham 0. Southampton,
Okay.
West Brom.
Southampton West Brom. Um, Southampton have been on a very poor form until last weekend, where they had to get a win away from home, and they are playing a West Brom side that have also not been doing pretty well, except for scoring 3 goals against a Chelsea side. Well, looking at it on a prediction level, I'll go with Leicester. Danny Ings is going to play, so I'll go with Leicester.
Southampton, West Brom.
Southampton rather, sorry. Southampton 2, West Brom 1.
2-1. I also agree with that. I'm also going with West Southampton 2, West Brom 1. Arsenal, Sheffield United.
Straight up, Arsenal is going to win 2-0.
Okay. I actually think that will end 3-0 in favor of Arsenal. And that would mean that Sheffield United will still have not scored any goal this
in the
season.
Premier League.
Wolves, Fulham.
Who's Fulham? Fulham have been considering goals are plenty, and I don't see them stopping that against Wolves. I think Wolves will be coming out with rage, considering that they lost against West Ham last weekend. I'll be going with Fulham with Wolves 3-1.
Wolves 3-1. Well, I'm going Wolves 3, Fulham 0. Manchester United, Tottenham Hotspurs.
Wow. In the last couple of Solskjaer got the better of Mourinho, and I think that's going to continue as well. I think there's this fight in a couple of United players when they face Mourinho last season. I think that's still going to come up again, and I think I'll be going with United 2-1 against Spurs.
2-1. 2-1 United.
Yeah, 2-1 United.
Okay. I've gone 1-1. Manchester United 1, Tottenham Hotspurs 1. So final game of the weekend, Aston Villa taking on Liverpool.
Wow. Another exciting game to look forward to. Villa have been pretty decent since the beginning of the season, and Liverpool have done very well. They are the defending champions. I see them going all the way to retain the league as well this season. So I think nothing is stopping Liverpool again. Liverpool will definitely defeat Villa. I'll be going with Liverpool 3, Villa 1.
Liverpool 3, Villa 1. I'm going with Aston Villa 1, Liverpool 2. So you said 3-1 in favor of Liverpool?
3-1 in favor of Liverpool.
Okay, so that's our predictions. We've gotten our predictions. Let me see, where do we agree? Where do we have exact score lines? I think we'll have exact score lines on only one game, and that's Newcastle Burnley. We will agree that it will end 1-1.
1-1.
Where do we disagree? Well, last said Chelsea Crystal Palace will be 1-1. We said Chelsea will win 3-1. Which other one do we disagree on? Okay, I said Leeds United 2, Manchester City 2. You said 2-4. So we disagree on that one. Where else do we disagree? Okay, Manchester United. You said Manchester United 2.
Spurs 1.
Spurs 1. I said the game will end
1-1.
Well, we have to wait and see who is correct. When I get to speak to Shay later on, I'll get the results from the AI, and we can conclude. Well, thank you very much, Adebayo Jami, for joining me on the show. Thank you for your predictions. Hopefully, it goes your way, and you can have yourself, a really good time with 10,000 naira cash if you defeat the air. So, thank you for joining me. Have a lovely weekend. Adebayo Jamiu.
My pleasure, Mr. Emi. Thank you so
Thank you
much for
to
having me too.
all those that have joined in, especially Nekejike who sent in his comments. Everybody, have a lovely weekend. Thank you for joining in. Bye for now.
Bye.